Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is a Sanskrit phrase that means the world as one family. It is a concept that reflects the universal values of harmony, compassion, and interdependence. It is also a concept that is deeply rooted in the culture and ethos of Sikkim, a beautiful state that is home to diverse communities, languages, religions, and traditions. Today, we are fortunate to have with us three eminent personalities from Sikkim who have made their mark in the field of media and entertainment. They are Sri Ugin Chuppel, Sri Lenu Mangar, and Sri Karma Pazal. And now, I would like to invite our chairperson, Mr. Rudra Powder, and along with the speakers to kindly come on the stage and offer them khadas. So now I would like to request all the speakers also to come on the stage. The first speaker under the segment of media and entertainment is Sri Ugin Chuppel, and let me provide you with a brief introduction of Mr. Ugin Chuppel. Sri Ugin Chuppel is a renowned film director from Gizen, West Sikkim. He has studied BA in English Literature, Mitibai College from University of Bombay. He has many more achievements in filmography. Mr. Chuppel was an assistant director to Mukul Anand for the film Edpar and Bapu. His first job was on the tourism documentary A Pilgrimage to God's Land, 1985. His first feature film in Nepali was movie Sino. Mr. Chuppel has also contributed his artwork in many documentaries from the year 1987 to 1997. Some of his work includes Glimpse of Sikkim, Power of Changing Times, Adventure Unlimited, and Enchanting Voice of Silence. Mr. Chuppel has worked for many other films like Trishna, Nepali feature film 1991, Bondu Bangla film 1992, Nepali Babu feature film 1999, Badal Pari, Nepali feature film 2001, and for the very well-known documentary on the life of Victoria Cross Ganjanawa. Mr. Chuppel has also received many awards and felicitations. Some of his awards include Nepali Film Awards 1992, Best Film and Best Screenplay for Trishna, Nepal National Award for Best Director and Best Screenplay for Trishna 1998, Sikkim Samman Sammelan Award in 2005, State Award for Excellence in Field of Art and Field of Art and Film Work. Without further ado, let me invite our first speaker, Sri Uday Chopel, to take the stage and enlighten us with his talk. Please give him a big round of applause.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for the wonderful lunch. I'd like to start by thanking the speakers in the morning session, I think, who spoke very passionately, and I found it very enlightening. Myself, I was sitting right behind them listening. Thank you very much, everyone. I also like to take this opportunity to thank the C20 Chinmay Mission Sikkim for having me over this evening to speak on media and entertainment here. It's also my privilege and honor to be sharing the dais with two very eminent media persons, my friend Karna Pacho and Nirmal Mehta. Since the beginning of humanity, man has found ways and means to express and entertain himself. From the drawings the caveman etched out in his caves to modern times, it has been a long journey. Over centuries, the early form of art, music, storytelling, dance evolved and spread over all cultures in the world. From the Greek theatres and patronage at royal courts to modern day entertainment forms, the evolution has indeed kept pace with time. In the early 19th century, cinema brought a revolution in the way we looked at entertainment. With the coming of sound in 1927 in The Jazz Singer, followed by our first Indian talkie film, Alam Ara in 1931, things changed very fast, though Raja Harishchandra was the first film made by Dada Saheb Phalke in 1930. In India, it is often said that there are two things that every person is devoted to and unites the whole subcontinent. These two words are Ma, meaning our mothers, and Cinema, that means the film industry. Our mothers mean the world to us, and we hold her above everything on this planet. When it comes to cinema, it binds the whole country together. It transcends color, class, creed, religion, everything. And we have been witness to events in the recent past which validates this feeling. Whether in a dingy single-screen theatre in Begusarai in Bihar, or a hot brand new theatre in Kozhikode in Kerala, or an air-conditioned multiplex in New Delhi, for those 130 minutes, everyone is one. Everyone is equal, without any gender, without any prejudice. Everyone is a human. Mesmerized with the magic of the silver screen, such is the power of cinema, and such is the power of entertainment. Earlier, films like Mother India, Mughal-e-Azam and Sholay exhibited grandeur in epic proportions, and were loved by the Indian audience as well as abroad. They touched everyone's life to the extent that the song Pyar Kiya To Darna Kya was the anthem of every lover ejected in love. In the 60s, the great master Satyajit Ray, whose centenary is celebrated in 2021, became the ambassador of Indian films to the world. His landmark film Pather Panjali is still watched with reverence and awe. He took Indian cinema abroad, while we had the privilege to see world cinema through masters like Charlie Chaplin, Jean Renoir, and Akira Kurosawa, which made the world feel smaller and closer. With time, Hollywood has had a very major impact in our lives. From the wizardry of Wizard of Oz, romance of Gone with the Wind, and the Sound of Music, to the war epics in Western cowboy films as we knew them, to the recent epic Avatar and Avengers, cinema has always given that all-embracing feeling. Conscientiously, films like The Schindler's List, Saving Private Ryan, and the war trilogy of Oliver Stone, comprising of the films Heaven and Earth, Platoon, 4th of July, or the wonderful Life is Beautiful by the Italian filmmaker Roberto Benigni. All films made on the Holocaust and the wars that were fought over the years have exposed us to human suffering and the feeling that we all share, no matter which part of the world we come from. While tales of love, romance, music and celebration of life itself can be seen in umpteen number of films from all over the world. In my formative years as a child in Gazing Bazaar, we looked forward to the travelling Ram Leela during our winter vacation. There were no television and other forms of entertainment, but year after year, we watched the performers from neighbouring Bihar perform the Ram Leela in the Petromax lit art sheds, which doubled as a stage and viewing gallery. I think our audience in the front might understand what a Petromax is, but I think most of the audience, I don't think you know what a Petromax is actually. हमारे से वो gas बत्ती बनती है. It was a light, where you put kerosene oil and pump it, and there used to be something called a mantle, and it emitted a huge amount of light. So it was a Petromax. In fact, I think some of you who are already on your mobiles can actually Google and find out what a Petromax is actually. In fact, I think a lot of our younger generation won't know what a heart shed is also. Heart shed, whenever you Heart Bazaar, because Sunday or Wednesday or Thursday, depending on which town it was. So they had these tin sheds. So the Ramleelas used to be performed there, and it was fully illuminated by these Petromax lights. Well, these are the first memories about entertainment. Barring the recitation of shlokas, we learnt everything from the Ramayana, right down to the antics of Kaikai, Jatayu and Kumbhakarna. These images will remain etched in our memories for a very, very long time. In spite of being a Buddhist, we welcome these performances not only as a form of entertainment, but something we looked up to in complete reverence. That way, Buddhism, as we know, is very inclusive, and we have been brought up with those values. Sikkim or Veil Janajong is often misinterpreted as valley of rice. Jai meaning rice and Jong meaning valley. This interpretation is actually a very British interpretation, which is not right. Yenjong actually means it is, we say, the land of fruition. Here we believe that if you pray once, it is multiplied into 1,000 times. So it is a land of fruition. This is Guru which is blessed land. So I think we are all lucky to be born in this holy land, blessed by Guru Padma Sangha. I have slightly deviated a little from my specific topic of cinema and entertainment, but I take this opportunity and this platform to express myself very strongly about being inclusive. Today we find the whole world getting divisive and polarized, which is a very dangerous trend and works negatively against the basic philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Cinema and entertainment becomes all the more relevant in these difficult times, especially after the COVID, which engulfed the entire world and took us by surprise. It made the world stop and realize the fragility of life on this earth itself. It spared no one from the highly developed countries to the third world countries. We were all brought down to our knees. For everyone living on this earth, it brought us closer. The suffering, the pain, the agony felt by all. We felt that, indeed, we all live in a big world community. In the aftermath of all these emerged a film from South India called RRR, which came as a breath of fresh air and spoke a language which probably the whole world understood, as it made its way to the recent Oscars triumph. The pre-COVID days also saw many films from India, but got wide acclaim in the world, including China, which normally resists intrusion. Films like Dangal, Three Idiots, PK and the recent Pathan have acted as ambassadors of culture, music and entertainment to the world outside. During one of my visits to China a few years back, I was pleasantly surprised to find Chinese people who happen to be very big fans of Amir Khan and the South Indian actress Asif. They either understood the language of our cinema, or they knew our culture. In the early 70s, my uncle, the iconic film star Danny Denzongpao, forayed into the silver screen, making a huge impact. His career spanning 5 decades have been prolific, with his name being listed among the top 100 all-time stars in the Indian film industry. Coming from a remote village, Joksan in West Sikkim, his journey to becoming one of the most respected film personalities in filmdom has meant a lot to Sikkim and the entire Northeast region. In the 70s and 80s, everyone in the Northeast looked like him. They kept long hair, dressed like him, and many got away scot-free when they landed in trouble in their colleges and institutes all over India, professing to be Danny's cousin. In the hill regions of Sikkim, Darjeeling, Nepal and Bhutan, he was everyone's Akudani. Everyone believed that we had one person who we could call our own, who gave dignity, stature and identity to all hill people and recognition all over the world. I myself have been making films for the past 30 plus years. I can recount the fact that when I make films in Nepal, no one cares where I come from. Many don't even know that I come from Sikkim. The love and affection, the respect and recognition that I get over there often surprises me. This is how the medium of cinema works. As it is believed, entertainers have no nationality, language, caste or creed. Entertainment comes from the French word entretenir, which means to support, to hold together or amuse, or make someone happy. Eventually, it's about making people happy. And I'm very glad to be in the business of happiness. The Japanese, on the other hand, believe that everyone has an ikigai. It's spelled I-P-A-G-A-I, which means purpose in life, the reason for living. For the younger audience here this afternoon, I suggest that we should have a purpose in life. We should have ikigai, to be able to contribute and work towards making the world one big family. We have to act locally and think locally. Each one of us should go about doing our own little thing and keep taking baby steps and contributing to make a difference. Always keeping in mind what we can do for this beautiful world that we all live in. Time, like the wind, is always blowing, bringing with it those gusts of changes. The world is forever evolving and changing every second. But here, I pause to remember what Mahatma Gandhi said. Open the window of your mind and let the wind of change flow in, but do not allow it to sweep you off your feet. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your wonderful experiences and opinions with all of us. And thank you, everyone, for your time, your effort and patience to be with us today. And especially thank you to all the students present here. The second speaker under the segment of media and entertainment is Sri Karma Palzar. Let me provide you with a brief introduction of Sri Karma Palzar. Sri Karma Palzar is a senior journalist and entrepreneur who co-founded Atvi Infotainment in 2018. His career spans 22 years, including 5 years at CNBC, TV18 and 12 years at CNN News 18. He is the co-founder of EastMojo.com, a digital news website that reports on Northeast India. Sri Palzar has won several awards for his work, including the Ramnath Goenka Award for Excellence in Journalism, the EMBA Award for Best National News Coverage in English. Mr. Karma Palzar has produced, directed and anchored award-winning programs for CNN News 18 and is a fellow of the Kamal Nayan Bajaj Fellowship and a member of the Aspen Global Leadership Network. Now, I would like to invite our second speaker, Sri Karma Pazar, to take the stage and enlighten us with his talk.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction. Honorable Speaker Sir, dignitaries, and my dearest friends, the future of Sikkim at the back. So, good afternoon to all of you. That doesn't sound like the future of Sikkim. Yeah? We'll try once again, right? For man to like the Tawala Josmo Bandwa, a very question, right? Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, that's more like the future of Sikkim. So my speech is going to be hybrid speech. That means I want you to work with me, otherwise the speech is not complete. When I'm boring in the middle, you will have to, because we are one family, one world, you will have to participate with me. And from the back you can say, Bhayo. What do you have to say? Bhayo. That means I will move on. I will skip something and I will move. Keep on saying. Bhayo. Break. I know. I do Parliament to just I table my speech to the chairperson and I walk out. But I will not walk out. I will hold my ground. The second thing is I don't know which schools you are from. So in the middle I'd like to stop and say Vikas from which school? What? Okay. So from there tell me which all schools you are from because I don't know. Joe say. The school with the highest wins. Wow, now I know. So I think it's a tie between modern and PNSS. PNSS has always been a legendary school. Bro at the back, yeah. So I will start with the first lines now. You have to participate with me and read this. I will start on 3. 1, 2, 3. Journalism is printing something that someone does not want printed. Everything else is public relations. Bujana. Oh. Baki sub public relations, that's why. And this is a quote by George Orwell, the famous writer and thinker, and So it says that if you don't make somebody uncomfortable with your writing is not journalism. Sawaila happy girl, kaina kai chai alikati euta sui na that is journalism. But today, I myself have been a strong proponent of freedom of press. And by freedom of press, I mean that the fourth pillar of democracy, which is journalism, should stand tall. But today, the fourth pillar of journalism has wavered. It is not strong at all. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. One world, one family. Now, this holds true for journalism. Why? Because what we write here in Sikkim about climate change, for example, reverberates around the world. Everybody wants to know what this small Himalayan kingdom is writing about. So that's why, as journalists, it's our responsibility to seek stories which have a wider, a global a kind of feel. A job of a journalist is increasingly becoming difficult. So, in that case, can we truly live up to the theme of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam? And that's a challenge before all of us today. Today, the press is increasingly under attack, and especially by those people who are scared of the consequences of truth emerging from the shadows. To them, I say, and I quote again, in his speech, what did he say? He says, "Pyar kiya to? Pyar kiya to? Journalism kiya to? Garna nahi hai isme." So we continue to do our journalism, we continue to focus. Now it's evidently clear, I am just coming back from a very distressful reporting of Manipur violence. It's a violence between two communities. It's a problem which has festered on for years and years and years and years. And those who are following Manipur know about that there are so many issues. Yet, for some journalists, it is very easy to make it into a Hindu and a Muslim issue. Sorry, a Christian issue. Because churches were attacked, temples were attacked in return. But they are not seeing that this is a history that goes back hundreds of years. There are so many issues involved. And it's a failure of the, who has failed to see the story? The journalist has failed to see the story. But, and when I say, can I have the next slide? I forgot to. Next slide. So, who has failed? Has journalism failed just because it is becoming increasingly difficult to report in these times of social media? There's so much pressure? No. I think one of the main reasons why journalism has failed, not just in India, but slowly around the world, is because the journalists themselves have failed. With great power comes? Yes, with great responsibility. And as journalists, you have to be responsible to the public, to you. Because we have the power to report, to be truthful, to be honest, to be unbiased, to be unwavering in our quest for information. Freedom and accountability are symbiotic and not mutually exclusive. What does this mean? Think about it. Freedom and accountability are symbiotic, not mutually exclusive. Now, the first step towards freedom will have to come from us. When we have to stop the TRP madness, when our anchors have to stop dressing up as astronauts and talking about NASA, when our anchors and reporters must stop making the story about themselves. Now, the question is, when you see journalists being openly false, lying, trying to divide communities, reporting falsehoods, can there be a consequence to them? Can there be a consequence to them? Why is shaking your head? Can there be a consequence? If a journalist is lying to you, who is he lying to? He is lying to the entire community. Hence, there is a responsibility. But for that also, we have the Editors Guild, we have the Press Council of India, we have so many of our own, because the press is self-regulated. And beyond self-regulation, there is a law called the defamation law in India. That has to be made strong for journalists to be held accountable. Freedom is tough to attain, to sustain. Let journalists remember that. Journalists should always remember that. And I'm afraid so many of my fellow colleagues have forgotten this. We cannot call ourselves the fourth pillar of democracy if we do not act like a pillar at all. Right now, most of that pillar has bent down so low that they cannot get up in a long time. Now, let me take you through, and this is the second point, of some of the powerful reporting. Can you change the slide? Some of the powerful reporting that has happened around the world. In June 17, 1972, there was a burglary. What's a burglary? Oh, chori. Shabash. Thank you so much. So, there was a burglary at the headquarters of the Democratic National Committee in Washington, D.C. And there were two reporters who went in to report. They were Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein. Do you remember what the big controversy was? And none other than the President of the United States of America had to resign. What is this scandal called? The Watergate scandal. And in Delhi also we had the Chole Gate scandal. Do you remember Chole Gate scandal? Huh? There was a Cholawala outside MCD building. So all the brides would be routed through him. They found out that he had crores and crores of property. So that is our Chole Gate scandal. Now, the other person, I'm not sure if you know her name, is Sucheta Dalal. Do you know who this journalist is? Harshad Mehta scam. So the question was not for you. Just for So the Harshad Mehta scam was reported by this brave lady, and Sucheta Dalal's story is a gold standard in reporting. And another story I want to tell you about, and it involves a former BJP minister. Can you guess? He was also a journalist. Can you guess? Mr. Arun Puri. Yeah? You know what they did? To prove that slave trade was on, they bought a person in a market in Bholpur, 1981, to expose the large-scale trafficking of women. And the headline of that story was, "Yesterday I bought a short-statured skinny woman belonging to a village near Shivpuri in Madhya Pradesh for 2,300 rupees. I mean, this is journalism, to be able to go to the heart of the story. And this is another brilliant example of a person who's gone to the ground, smelled the earth, and did the story like that. P. Sainath. How many of you all remember P. Sainath? Everybody loves a good drought. Why does everybody love a good drought? Because after the drought, there's money to be made. I was very lucky in a very remote village in Maharashtra. I had gone to do a story on farmer suicides. And the owner of the lodge very happily, excitedly brought me to a room. And he said, "This is the same room P. Sainath comes and stays." I said, "I'm very lucky." And the room was one of the most horrible hotel rooms that I've ever slept in. The pillow was black. But I still slept well, knowing that a journalist whom I followed, whom I respected, used to stay here while doing his report. So these are some of the examples of good journalism. And if I can get an output or not, I will carry on with some of the stories that we have done at East Mojo. And one of the stories that came our way, nobody did, was during the lockdown, during the Corona period. All of you attended online classes? Honestly speaking, was it good? No, that's not the question. I mean, did you really were serious during online class, or it went? Let's be honest. And the students of Nagaland had another problem. What is the most important ingredient that is required in a digital class? Network. There was no network. And still, the teachers, everybody, in fact the government, the education ministry in so many of the areas says now we are going online and there is no network. And kids had to walk up a hill, some were walking 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers into a jungle. There are snakes in those Naga jungles, but they had to go and do that. So we did that story, the digital divide, online schooling. The other story we did, again, which is being very nicely received, thank God we've not got any attack. In most of the stories we immediately get a legal notice. Some legal notices we respond to, some legal notices we don't respond to. Now, Mizoram has been at the forefront of creating nurses. They are creating hundreds of nurses every year, but there are no jobs. Hence, all of the nurses have to look for jobs elsewhere, go through a lot of trouble. Next. Can you go to the next slide? Yeah. Now, how many of you have heard about the Joshimath story, where the whole town was sinking? Yeah? One? Yeah. I was in Joshimath for 18 days, living in a tent covering the floods in Uttarakhand. So I know that city, that little town is very dear to me. Joshimath was sinking, but none of us knew that we had our own Joshimath called Dokla. And this village has been sinking for a long time. Nobody did the story. Once again, just before the polls, the roads of the Garo Hills. There are some places in the northeast which are in the 80s. I went to a village called Tali in Arunachal to do a story, and that it's an assembly constituency which had not been connected by road till now. So you reach Tali, you feel that you are in the 1980s or 81 and all, because that one bag of cement in that place costs 6,000 rupees. The Nishi tribe there loves Pepsi, because the Christian missionaries have told them you can't drink their local wine, so you drink Pepsi. So they love Pepsi. So a bottle of Pepsi, when it reaches the villages, costs 300 rupees. When the first car, I went to the following the CM's cavalcade, and when the first car entered, some of the people seeing the car started crying. People have moved out. The former MLA was there, the current MLA was there, everybody was there, and I asked the CM, I asked all of them, I said, who's responsible? The road has been being built for 40, 50 years. I said, who paid the money? Right in front of them, I asked them straight. They all said, now the road has been built, so we will maintain status quo, so nobody wants to point the finger. So that is the discomfort that they have. Bhayo. Bhayo. No. So let me go through some of the do's and don'ts as far as, if you tomorrow want to be a young journalist and want to preserve this great message of one thing. I always say, be curious. Be ready to ask questions. The problem with most of us journalists is that we do not ask questions. We go to a press conference, we go to an interview a leader, and we do not ask enough questions. Always be curious. Why is my road not built? Why is there no water in Gangtok? Which century are we living in? Always be ready to ask questions, and this has to happen. And when you talk about news as an information, all of you have the right to that information. And the government has given you that Right to Information Act. But people misuse it. So that should stop. And there are many things, but I look at the watch and I'm running out of time. So I'll quickly go through the recommendations, policy recommendations I have. And as journalists, we will struggle we do not need much, but one of the main things that we need as journalists is health and life insurance. I cannot stress that enough. When I was in Ayodhya covering the Shilanyas, when they attempted the first Shilanyas long time back, I got hit from behind by a CRPF platoon, and that's the first time I realized he Ganti se Kutamala, but by the time I showed the mic ID and I said I'm a journalist, I was already down. And that's the time I really realized that I need to go back and get a good health insurance. So journalists need health insurance and life insurance. As a mature and a good society, we need to penalize penalize people. And as a journalist, I say that who publish fake news, they should face the law and strict action should be taken against them. We should have fact-checking bodies. Every government, every civil society should train. I think fact-checking should start at the school level. You all should know that if your WhatsApp uncle is sending you a fantastic story of a cancer being cured in 5 minutes, you should do a fact check yourself. It's easy to do. So fact-checking should be made mandatory. We need to ensure, one of the main problems I have in Manipur is to ensure people know the difference between news and opinion. What is news? Which is written by a journalist. Yeah, that's news. What is an opinion? Opinion is a viewpoint. It can be written by any of you, can be written by anybody. Yeah. So sometimes if somebody writes a very strong opinion, I get a call saying, what is wrong with you? Why are you giving one-sided news? I said, look at the end of the story. It's written, the views expressed are by the author, and we have nothing to do with that. We are just carrying that because everything is new. We also need help in training. So this goes to the organizers, the team mentioned, whom I'm grateful for inviting. We need to train journalists. So if you can find certain ways, certain funds from somewhere to train journalists, local journalists, that will be of huge help. And that will help us take our problems like climate change to a global level. I already stated to the governments, because I would request your government to release data timely, because we need data, we need information, and make public more aware about the state's finances. We need to train our journalists to understand what's in the state budget. Where is the money coming from? Where is the money going? How much money does the state? That also help the government to tell people, look here, we don't have so much money. We are so dependent on the central government. All these things have to be reported. With that, from my side, Abha, thank you very much for listening. There are many things I can say, but thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your inspiring words and experiences with all of us. And I'm sure some of the students out here must have got encouraged enough to consider journalism as their future profession. So moving on now, the third speaker under the segment of media and entertainment is Sri Nirmal Mangal. Let me provide you with a brief introduction of Sri Nirmal Mangal. Sri Nirmal Mangal is a very well-known face of media conclave in the state of Sikkim. He is the editor and a co-founder of the popular digital media Sikkim Chronicle, which was founded in 2017. Mr. Mangal started his career as a news reader in local television and also worked as staff reporter for Sikkim Express and later joined the Telegraph as Sikkim correspondent. He mainly reports on gender, politics, crime, environment, bilateral trade, human stories. He has been conferred with numerous awards and felicitations, including the State Award. He is also the appointed Youth Ambassador of Universal Peace Federation, UPF, Also an Instagram influencer, Mr. Mangar has also worked in All India Radio, Doordarshan and ZTV network. Now, I would like to invite our third speaker, Sri Nirmal Mangar, to take the stage and enlighten us with his talk.
Thank you very much for that lovely introduction. After listening to my guru, my mentor, Mr. Kamapalja, I'm sure you're also going to enjoy my presentation. And at a time when we see so much of farce in journalism, when the credibility of journalism is in a question mark and is in ICU, we are extremely happy that we have media houses like East Mojo, Sikkim Chronicle, who are standing by these standards of credible journalism. Big round of applause to East Mojo. Alright, so let me start my presentation with a WhatsApp message which I received just now from one of the WhatsApp uncles. And it says, although it's in a very lighter note, the national media left for Manipur to cover the crisis. They just mistakenly booked tickets and landed at Kohima at the airport. They are still asking for direction to Gangtok, capital of Manipur. So I will contextualize this while I read this WhatsApp message. But before that, I would like to highlight something on the aspect of today's theme, that is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and the journalism aspect on promoting this. And I'll come to this context. Journalism should be more like a science. Facts should be verifiable. If journalists want long-term credibility for the profession, they have to go in that direction and should have more respect for the leaders, who are the most important stakeholders, the leaders in journalism. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to speak to you about how media industries can help spread the message of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which means one family, one earth, one future. The ancient Indian concept, which was first articulated in the Maha Upanishad, has become even more relevant today in our globalized world. It highlights the interconnectedness of all living beings and our responsibility to protect the environment and work towards the betterment of all. First, let us reflect on the past contribution of Indian media houses and fraternities in spreading and propagating this message. Our media has been instrumental in raising awareness about environmental issues, social injustice, and other pressing problems that affect our planet. Many prominent newspapers, television channels, radio stations, and now the digital media have regularly featured stories that promote the message of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which means the world is one family in Sanskrit, has been a recurring theme in many journalistic works that aim to promote unity and diversity. Good journalism plays a crucial role in raising awareness about the importance of embracing all cultures and promoting the values of empathy, compassion, and inclusivity. Here are some of the good journalism that have effectively promoted Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The Power of Connection by Krista Tippett. We have the Universal Declaration of Human Rights by the New York Times. The World is One Family by Rajiv Malhotra. We have beautifully highlighted in his TEDx talk. The Power of Listening by Story Crops. It's a podcast. Diversity in America by National Geographic. Overall, these examples of good journalism promote the values of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam by emphasizing the importance of empathy, compassion, and understanding in fostering a sense of global community and interconnectedness. They also recognize the need to acknowledge and celebrate the diversity and richness of human cultures and experience. One of the best examples of good journalism that has propagated the message of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is documentary film An Inconvenient by Al Gore, the former Vice President of America, which has been an instrumental in raising awareness about climate change and its impact on the planet. The film used powerful images and compelling storytelling to make the case for urgent action on climate change. The another example is the newspaper series The Vanishing, published by the Los Angeles Times, which documented the disappearance of world forest and its impact on the planet. I am skipping some of my points, keeping time on you don't mind. Alright, now I would like to contextualize what I said about the mainstream media, because we still face this problem, especially the people from Northeast region, to mark ourselves, our presence and our stories in the national media. And in this, the role of hyper-local news media comes very relevant, and it's very important. So what is hyper-local news media? Hyper-local news media is a news media like Sikkim Chronicle, which especially reports based on the geographical locations and especially villages. Now let me talk about the importance of hyper-local media such as Sikkim Chronicle and others, which bring out and highlights the stories and news which are often overlooked by the national and regional media. Hyper-local news media plays a crucial role in India, especially in the era of digital media. India is a diverse country with a vast population of over 1.3 billion people, and each region has its own unique language, culture and tradition. This makes it challenging for national or regional media to cover all the news and issues in depth. For example, as Mr. Karmapal just said, the recent unrest in Manipur has so many other layers and reasons which led in clashes between two communities. But the national media highlighted and projected it as a fight between two religions. Here comes the role of hyper-local news to cater an in-depth reportage on the issues from different prisms with clear objectivity, as we can understand the reason more than the local journalist and the local scribe. Hyper-local news media such as Sikkim Chronicle, let me tell you that we have 7 lakhs followers with almost 70% of Sikkim's population. And we focus on news and event at the local event, which can provide more targeted and relevant coverage of issues that affect people in specific areas. It can help bring attention to community issues that will not be covered by national or regional media outlets and provide a platform for local voices to be heard. We have done numerous stories, bringing the stories from the remote West Sikkim, where a person is concerned about the biodiversity conservation but has never been highlighted in the state or the regional or the national media. Ladies and gentlemen, hyperlocal news media helps to promote transparency and accountability at the local level. By reporting on local government decisions and policies, hyperlocal news media can hold local officials accountable for their actions and decisions. In addition, hyper-local news media can help to promote civic engagement and community involvement. By covering local events, initiatives and organizations, hyper-local news media can help to connect people to the communities and inspire them to get involved in local issues and causes. Sikkim Chronicle believes that an independent and free media is to report on issues without fear of reprisal from the government or any other actors. Being an independent and hyper-local media house, it is also important as it allows media platform to focus on the issues that matter to the local community. Sikkim Chronicle, being a hyper-local platform, has been able to cover local issues extensively, which are often ignored in the mainstream media outlets. The platform also has been able to give voice to local communities. Ladies and gentlemen, what you read and what you watch in Facebook is always not a journalism or not a news, because there is a very thin line between what we call journalism and a farce. Because the fake news has become one of the most biggest challenges, not only for the journalist itself, also for the government. I want to say that the new media landscape in Sikkim is a positive development that we should be proud of. It has given us a voice. It has allowed us to share our stories, and it has helped us to promote our state in a very, very positive light. Let us continue to support our media and use it as a tool for positive change and growth in communities. I also want to talk about the impact of digital media, particularly Facebook in our state. While this medium of information has its own shortcomings and misuse, it has significantly empowered the people in terms of connecting with each other and keeping updates with happenings around the state. Local content creators in digital media have ably served the people of Sikkim, and we have seen the success of local digital media houses during the COVID pandemic years of 2021 and 2022, when traditional print media was out of bounds for most of the people. However, with the mushrooming of unverified digital media pages, there is much to be done for streamlining, because I also personally feel regulating may curtail the freedom of speech, but there should be some streamlining. The state government needs to play a proactive role in this regard. We need an exclusive policy for digital media pages, houses, whether operated by a single individual or a team. We need to define which Facebook pages are journalists and which are merely masquerading as media for their own agendas. The policy should aim to filter out amateurist pages for those that practice credible journalism. It is also important to provide incentives to credible digital media houses through advertisements, so that the financial stability allows these houses to sustain their ethical reporting, promoting the idea of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. We need a board within the IPA department with members drawn from media associations like Press Club of Sikkim and Journalists Union of Sikkim to start with the definition and accreditation government benefits and coverage for special programs like associations have been defined from the perspective of the print media only. We need to expand this policy to include those from digital media. Unless there is official government recognition to those digital media houses doing responsible journalism, there is a danger of undesirable vested interests assaulting the ethics of journalism and thereby doing great disservice to the society. We need to embrace the power of digital media, but we do so responsibly. We need to ensure that credible digital media houses are recognized and supported while amateurist pages are filtered out. I urge the state government to take a proactive role in this manner and help us to establish responsible digital media in Sikkim. Together, let us create a platform for credible journalism and empower our citizens with the right information. Good journalism that promotes Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam emphasizes the importance of empathy, compassion and understanding in fostering a sense of global community and interconnectedness. It also recognizes that acknowledge it and celebrate the diversity and richness of human culture and experiences. Lastly, the media has a very important and vital role to play in building peace. By raising awareness, promoting empathy, holding accountable to those who promote violence and also to promote peace-building initiatives, the media can help create a more peaceful and just world. However, this is not an easy task, and it requires a great deal of responsibilities, integrity and professionalism on the part of the media professionals. I urge all media professionals to recognize the power and responsibility and use it to promote peace, justice and harmony in the world. And finally, my request to all the stakeholders, to all the readers, to all the viewers, please be sensible and please be able to differentiate between a good journalism and a farce. Because again, I reiterate my statement, all you read and all you watch is not journalism. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Munger, for sharing your experience and opinion with all of us. Now I humbly request our chairperson to felicitate all three eminent speakers for the sub-theme of media and entertainment. Now we have come to the end of the program, and before the program ends, I would like to call upon the stage our chief guest, Honorable Speaker, Shri Arun Kumar Upreddi, Guest of Honor, VC, Ikka University, Swami Satyanandaji, S.K. Sarvaji, and C.P. Patel. Sir, S.P. Subha, sir. Now, with deep respect and reverence, I would like to invite Swami Satyanandaji to give a brief summarization of the entire workshop.
Everyone, namaskar. So I know you all had a very long day. Today has been a very successful workshop here, the National Conference on C20. Honorable Governor Sir expressed that Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is an ideal, and through this we will have to cultivate the universal vision for all. And he also spoke about how spirituality and self-knowledge expressed in the Vedas can surely inspire us to build a world of oneness and drop divisive ideologies. He also spoke about how local to global must be the direction of progress, and this will protect our planet and empower the people. Swami Nityanandaji spoke about how the Creator and the created are one, and how through this initiative the government of India has brought this Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the most ancient Upanishadic mantra, at the world stage and make people talk about it and live it through the G20 countries. Honorable speakers are also there with us in the morning, and he also shared his beautiful thoughts about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam and how one should live in the vision of oneness. Then we had the session on Dharma, where we had the session by Sister B.K. Sonamji. She spoke about the virtues and the vices that burn the world, and how we should change this by changing ourselves. And the call was to invoke the knowledge of the self and realization, how different powers and values we can cultivate, we can attain from the divine. And she also led a meditation session. Dr. Sevang Bhutyaji spoke about the Buddha Dharma and how the death is the end of birth, separation is the end of meeting, exhaustion is the end of prosperity, downfall is the end of elevation, and how through stabilizing our mind, through mindfulness, etc., we are able to ensure that we live this Buddha Dharma and discipline of Buddha in our daily lives. This was followed by the panel on ecology. Dr. Ghanshyam Sharma ji, he spoke about how ecology as a subject evolved in India through our Vedas and scriptures, and very interesting, many mantras he also quoted. And also said that, the ecology in India is very unique because we worship the nature. No other ecologists, they worship, even though they have been great authors, etc., they write many things, but this is the feeling that one has. And how Himalayas are the source of biodiversity and how they need to be protected. Priyadarshini ji, she spoke to us about the harmful effects of plastic and how we are generating so much of waste, and many eye-opening facts she mentioned about, and what are the things that we can do, what are the solutions that we can bring about, how more of the single-use plastic ban, the definitions have to be enlarged, and how much more we as individuals are buying. We need to put in more thought into it to reduce that. And the very fact that she said that there is one earth, just one earth we have, and there is no planet B. So makes us think more about living ecologically sensitive life here, reduce our the waste, plastic waste that we are creating. Dr. Bharat Pradhan ji, he spoke to us about the rivers and how these rivers are getting depleted, and very passionately he said that we should speak up for it as a younger generation here. In his times, in our times, we are seeing the rivers, but the next generation will not even be seeing those. And there are measures that he also suggested about how we can ensure that certain recommendations he gave to the state, that how these things can be ensured that rivers get conserved and we have water, because without water, no life. So we had different authors speakers who came up and who spoke about dharma, then who spoke about ecology, and in this last panel about media and about entertainment. How the journey of cinema was traced, and how through this medium of cinema, in which there is no division of caste, creed, etc., there is an inclusivity where the people across the country, across the world, in different mediums of cinema, how they are able to see, they forget all the divisions and differences and come together and see as oneness. Then we had about the session about journalism, where both the esteemed speakers spoke about how journalism should be more factual, how the journalists must be trained, and they gave examples of wonderful journalists and the examples of wonderful journalism that was exhibited through many decades. And so on the whole, the day has been very productive, and many suggestions that have come through all the esteemed speakers. We will be compiling all these. There is an international seminar happening of G20 in Chennai on 27th and 28th of May, and in that many of these points will be discussed also, and a final policy draft will be made and submitted to the government to present it to the G20 leaders. So I want to congratulate Chinma Mission Sikkim and all the esteemed speakers who came here, devoted their time, shared their views, and also gave their policy draft suggestions. And congratulate Chinma Mission Sikkim for conducting this so beautifully, organizing it so well and meticulously. Thank you very much.
sharing your inspiring words and insights with all of us today. And now moving on. Before we move ahead, let us have a short video on Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam.
In India, we've got a saying called as Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which literally means the world is one family. And when we think about the world as one family, the only thing that comes to mind is living in peace within the human species. But we have to go further than that, and we have to live in peace with all entities on this planet, whether it is the animals, the wildlife, the forest, the elements of nature, that is the water we drink, the air we breathe, the land we walk on. Thank you.
Now I request Mr. L.P. Sharma to brief us about the activities of Chinmay Mission.
Honorable Speaker, sir, Sri Arun Kumar Prithiji, who was here in the morning session also, and once again is here with us. Swami Satman, Dr. Jagannath Patnaik, Vice Chancellor of University, Sri C.P. Bhattaji, and Sri S.K. Sadaji, and all the friends, speakers, esteemed speakers, all the elders, brothers and sisters, student friends who have been here since morning. Once again, good afternoon. The
morning session, as I was standing here, it was very, very hectic, as the Honorable Governor had to rush to catch his flight. So, and then the remaining sessions were equally hectic, where speakers had a lot of passion to present a lot of things, and they were always going ahead of the time. So we never got an opportunity to inform you some of the activities that Chinmaya Mission have been carrying forward in the state. So here I have been called to speak about some of the activities that Chinmaya Mission is taking forward in the state. Gita Gyan, our basic activity relies on Gita Gyan to spread the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to everyone across the society, across the villages, to every family. So for that, our C.P. Datta sir, he was president of Chinmaya Mission for a very long time, and now he is the chief advisor. He has taken this activity of conducting Gita classes and Gita chanting competition as a crusade. And whenever he gets time, he goes to a village and calls children and starts teaching Gita lessons there. And many villages, many children of the state, many areas, many schools now, they are well versed in chanting Gita. And the credit goes to our C.P. Datta sir. Let's clap for him. So far, 30 such competitions have held where our children have, in a very smooth and profound manner, they have chanted Gita shlokas. And there are around 5,000 children today who can chant the Gita shlokas very well. And now they are learning, they are going deeper inside to the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So credit goes to Sri C.P. Datta sir. That is one activity. And we have built course where graduate youths preferably, they are sent for 1 year course to Chennai, if I am not mistaken, Chennai, where they are trained for Vedanta as well as other activities to develop positive attitude in life. And product of this UAB course, one is Mr. Naresh Shetty, whom you have recently seen. He was sitting in the youth parliament in Delhi and he was delivering his lecture there. And the Honorable Speaker of Lok Sabha, Om Birla ji, he was very much impressed with his acumen of delivering his speech, and he stood second in that competition. So a big clap to Naresh Shetty ji, he was there. Then our Tara Prasad ji is the second product of our UAB course. He is a full-timer in Chinmaya Mission. He stays in our Jalipur campus and he runs a Bal Vihar Kendra there, where there are around 50 students who are attending his classes offline. Then during the COVID session, during the COVID time, he started online courses through WhatsApp, and through that 300 students are connected to him through WhatsApp, and he shares videos of Gurudev, and they are also running Gita chanting through online media. So that is one thing. Then also we have Bal Vihar Kendra at MG Marg, at the house of Sri S.K. Savdaji, where around 50 students attend that class every Sunday. Besides that, we have a school called Gurudev Vidyalaya at Barmet Chalamtham, that is run by another UAB product, Mr. Sumit Sharma. It was started in 2017 with the blessing of Pujya Gurudev, and so far we have around 70 students there, and the classes are run in such a way that students can come up with full capacity, and they become capable, and they will be able to take all challenges of future. So we are trying hard to bring up best products from that school, and many underprivileged children
are sponsored by our Chinmay mission members from outside the state to study in that school. So besides that, whenever you meet a Chinmay mission member, the first thing is we will present you a Gita book. Now that book is, I think, kept in front of you, all of you. That is for you to take home and start learning. And you are already connected to us through the WhatsApp group. Now we will be sharing you the record voice file of some of the verses of Gita. Maybe the first chapter or the second chapter will start. The voice will start coming. All you have to do is play that voice and then open that book and you start learning at home. So these are some of the activities of Chinmay Mission that we are carrying with a small group that we have. We invite all of you to learn Gita and join this mission, and through the Vedanta, through the knowledge of Gita, let's spread happiness among the people. And imbibing the philosophy of and theme of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, let's learn together, let's progress together, and let's make this Sikkim and the whole world a much, much better place to live in. Thank you.
Now moving forward, I humbly invite our guest of honor, Mr. Jagannath Patnaik, the Vice Chancellor, ICFA University, to give his address.
From ignorance, lead me to truth. From darkness, lead me to light. From death, lead me to immortality. Om peace, Om peace, Om peace. My humble pranams at the lotus feet of Pujya Gurudev, Swami Chinmayananda Ji, who happens to be my childhood guru and taught me Bhagavad Gita. His Holiness Swami Ji, Swatananda Ji, who is here as a true messenger of my Reverend Guru and enlightened us in this august gathering the light of living or let live. Honorable Speaker, Sri Arun Upreti Ji, who is always with the youth. Whenever we invite him at our universities, he is there with us. And every time he loves to be with the youth. Honorable our State Information Commissioner, Sri C.P. Dhakal Ji, Sri S.K. Sarada Ji, who is the Secretary of Chinmay Mission, Sri L.P. Sharma Ji, and all the members of the Chinmay Mission Society of Sikkim Center. My friend DIG from SSP, Mr. Balwant Singh, Pujya B.K. Sonam Ji, who is a spiritual guru from Brahma Kumari. I have been to Mount Abu and have attended many sessions there. And all the distinguished guests who are present here, ladies and gentlemen, and the youth leaders from all the schools who are gathered here on this occasion of National Conference on Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam.
When we talk of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, we do not understand what is one family. The meaning of Vasudhaiva is we are all children of God. It's not one family. We are all children of God. That's how we are all family. There is no distinction between you and me. We are all divine soul. That should be our mindset. Like initially, Swamiji informed us. If you change, you can change the world. So जरूरत है मनोवृत्ति परिवर्तन का. The need is to change our mindset. That is how we can change the entire world. All the religions, Granth, which we are talking about, Bhagavad Gita, Bible, Quran, the meaning of all these holy Granth is principles of life. How you become a good human being with human excellence. You are all students studying in different schools, colleges, universities. But getting education is not enough. But how you excel in your human life, how you behave with your neighbors, your friends, is very important as part of living. So the best Guru Mantra which I can say is 3 words or 3 sentences. I love you. That is how you can become a human among a human. I am sorry whenever you do mistakes. And please forgive me. Then the entire world laboratory is with you. So this is what is spirituality which we were talking here. Dharma which we were talking about. Dharma is how we have to perform ourselves. Then ecology, how we have to maintain our environment. Environments between us. Because environment is our inside, our inner self. Like our Sonam Didi was speaking about the inner self, the meditation, which will make you to feel the bliss in yourself, to realize your soul, to understand yourself. That is how you can change the entire populations of the entire world populations by you. If you do meditations, it affects the world population. With your powers, with your energy, and with your waves. This I have seen, I am personally a meditator, and I have seen how the meditations can bring you the peace in yourself, and the harmony in yourself, and the harmony among the universe. This is very essential in life. So today's sessions I was observing, and I have learned a lot from the extraordinary speakers who spoke about our environment and how you have to be careful among you. It is said you are the creator of your own self, you are the creator of your own mistakes. If you want to blame anybody, you have to blame yourself, not leaders, not anybody. So this is the time we have to aware our roles, responsibilities, duties, and how we can work as together as one family and one future. Thank you all for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. It is a pleasure for Chinmaya Mission to have with us Sri Arun Kumar Upreti, the Speaker of Sikkim Legislative Assembly, as our chief guest. I humbly request Sir to address the audience.
Good evening. Esteemed delegates on the dais, members of C20, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam Sikkim Summit, teachers, students, friends from media fraternity, ladies and gentlemen. Namaskar to all. Esteemed delegates and everyone who is present here today, I am extremely happy and feel privileged to attend this valedictory session of C20 India 2023, to be amongst the luminaries, environmentalists, journalists, ecologists and everyone. We have held this conference with their thoughtful deliberation, with deep concern for humanity and the essential need for oneness of world. I am given to understand that C20 India 2023 is an official engagement group of the G20, providing platform for civil society around the world to voice people's aspirations. One of the working groups under C20 India 2023 is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The world is one family. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to congratulate and thank the entire organizing team of C20 Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam Sikkim for having organized this inspirational national conference. The subject matter included in the panel discussions are essentially connected to all of us, ranging from compassion and humanity to art and creativity, all having one goal of harnessing Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The world is one family. This national conference, I feel, is well deliberated and has discussed the ways to incorporate the spirit of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam and other peace narratives to reinforce the unity of humanity. I am impressed that the working groups have explored all the paradigms to promote universal responsibility and to live with the mindset of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam for aligning individual interest with national interest and aligning national interest with universal interest. The conference has rightly sought to arouse environmental consciousness for discharging our duty towards Mother Earth, for seeing a living oneness beyond limited identities of religion, color, gender, wealth, status, species, race, caste, religion and fanatic nationalism, to act as a catalyst of uniting the world together, for creating a more interconnected and cohesive world, for our best traditions that can act as great inspiration for the modern world to connect with nature and for promoting Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam through education, art, culture and literature, sports, media and entertainment. My friends, today I am reminded of our own local tradition of humanity encapsulated in our folklore and practice guiding our Sikkimese society to live with harmonious life, complementing each other. The local tradition of Parma, meaning giving and taking of free labor for farming activities and exchange of vegetables, food grains, farm animals, and our society is a classic example of Kutumbakam in the Sikkimese society. The advancement of communication and technology and rapid growth in global trade has rendered the world increasingly interconnected and interdependent, and our state is also a part of it. Regrettably, however, more often than not, technology becomes a tool in the hands of those who are more powerful and resourceful to trample on the rights of less privileged and marginalized people, creating a situation where harmony remains elusive. Many cultures, with their ethical framework, promote for building inclusive and peaceful societies. In the Korean civilization, the idea of Hong Ingen advocates to live for greater benefit of all mankind. Likewise, South African principle of Ubuntu is a unifying ethos, which means I am a person because you are, and denotes universal bond of sharing that connects all humanity. It is a philosophy of commonly and social responsibility and lays down a way to live together in the spirit of mutual care and respect. A leading scholar of China, Wang Yangming, has said, the heaven, the earth, and all the beings can be viewed as one entity, implying that everything under heaven is to be regarded as a member of the same family. These are few examples from which we can see that individual civilizations around the world encourages for universal harmony. The slogan Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam from the Upanishad calls for humanity to take the universal responsibility of creating and handling over a better world to the future generations. The objective of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals also envisages this universal responsibility. Natural resources are limited, but human exploitation has long crossed these limits. Development can no longer be sustained in the present model, which assumes that natural resources are infinitely exploitable. There is an urgent need to move to a new model of regenerative development which considers the whole universe as one. Inspired by this essential oneness, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam teaches us to imbibe divine human values of eco-friendliness, compassion, love, self-control, humility, gratefulness, open-mindedness, and acceptance towards all around us, and look beyond our limited identities. I firmly believe that the gathering of this kind will inspire our societies to move a step towards creating the world as one family where everyone prospers. Before I end, I would like to once again congratulate you all. One world, one family, one future, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Thank you all. Very much.
Thank you, sir. And once again, a heartfelt gratitude to everybody present here with us today. We have reached the tail end of this illuminating event. To conclude, I would like to invite Mr. Govindakar to give the vote of thanks.
I, on behalf of Sikkim, would like to take this pride and privilege on this national seminar, C20, to proceed for a vote of thanks. But before I proceed for a vote of thanks, with the due permission from the chair, I want to place two questions to the audience, especially the students here. Since morning, we have been hearing extensive talks on various topics given. And by the end of the day, there is a curiosity to know whether we are fully equipped with the term Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam or not. So the first question is, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, one earth, one family, and one future. Do you think it's possible? Yes, I want a response. Yes. Thank you for that. And the second question, who is going to take it?
Us. We will take it.
Sure?
Yes, sir.
We are a few privileged here today who got this opportunity, and definitely we take you as a messenger who is going to take it to the schools and institutions and make it a wider message to the masses so that it becomes one of the growing or evolving thought in the coming days. So without further delay, I on behalf of Chinmay Mission Sikkim would like to thank our Honorable Chief Guest of the Day, Honorable Sir Sri Arun Kumar Upreti, who has dedicated his entire day for this program, and on behalf of Chinmay Mission Sikkim and his presence, I would also like to thank Government of Sikkim for making this event successful for us, extending all his help and support for us to make this event successful. At the same time, we have Vice Chancellor of Sikkim University who is with us since morning. I also like to extend our heartfelt thanks to him for his support and sending his student for this national seminar. At the same time, we have a panel of speakers today who gave us all possibility and extended our wisdom, thoughts, invoked us to have a better ideas so that the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam can be made possible. So a great round of applause for them. Thank you everyone, every speaker. We have sponsors who decorated this hall, provided us the morning high tea and lunch. Please give them a round of applause. We thank them once again. There are many heads of departments here, government officials who have supported this event, and we also extend our thankfulness to them. There are members from local bodies and civil society who are with us till now. We also extend our gratitude towards them. We have teachers, head of institutions, and the students here. Despite today is a holiday, yet you prefer to be present here. A grand applause to yourself as well. Thank you for being here. We have officials from IPR department. They have a key role to take this awareness of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam in larger level. So a round of applause for them also. And technical support system who have been displaying and providing all sound and technical support. Thanks to them also. We have a supporting staff and officials from Chintan Bhavan who have managed this all so well that we had no glitches in conducting this program. We thank them as well. And the faculty team who served us a very wonderful high tea in the morning and a lunch. A round of applause is appreciated for them. And the entire organizing team of senior members who have jointly made this event successful for Sikkim. So thank you everyone. Vande Mataram. Okay, there are two students from Manipal University. They have documented the entire process of today's conference. So a round of applause for them and thank you as well.
So now let us end this program with the national anthem.